each with a double copy of the human genome, 3.1 billion letters long, which, if transcribed, would be enough to fill 5,000 books in a library. There remains one thing we do not know, and we will never know: what tomorrow will bring. The past, said L.P. Hartley, is a foreign country, but the future is an undiscovered one. That is why predictions so often fail. They don't even come close. Why then, when the ancient Mesopotamians could make accurate predictions about the movement of the planets, are we, with all our brain scans and neuroscience, not able to predict what people will do? Why do they so often take us by surprise? The result is that we are free. We choose, we make mistakes, we learn. People constantly surprise us. The failure at school becomes the winner of a Nobel Prize. The leader who disappointed suddenly shows courage and wisdom in a crisis. The driven businessman has an intimation of mortality and decides to devote the rest of his life to helping the poor. Miracles that we do not cause or understand do occur. We need to be humbled by our significant intellectual achievements and ego-based perceptions. This is something science has not yet explained and perhaps never will. There are scientists who believe freedom is an illusion, but it isn't. It's what makes us human. We are free because we are not merely objects, we are subjects. We respond not just to physical events, but to the way we perceive these events. We have minds, not just brains. We have thoughts, not just sensations. We react, but we can also choose not to react. There is something about us that is irresistible to material physical causes and probabilistic outcomes. A religious perspective will not remove all doubt and supply an incontrovertible answer to our questions and predictions, but will allow us to accept that we are free because God is free, and He made us in His image. And as Jonathan Sacks suggests, this is what is meant in the description of yet another biblical miracle by the three words that God tells Moses at the occasion of the burning bush, when Moses asks God, what is his name? The word's usual translation reply was, I am what I am. And it is an inaccurate translation. What the words really mean, though, is, I will be who and how I choose to be. I am the God of freedom. I cannot be predicted. Note that God says this is at the start of Moses' mission to lead a people from slavery to freedom. There is something about human person that will always elude scientific analysis. Our future is unpredictable because it is made by us and we are free. Lord Sacks goes on to urge the adoption of a resolution that will motivate each of us to do one totally unpredictable act of kindness in the next 24 hours and show someone that the world is a little better than they thought it was going to be. If only we could all succeed, we would then appreciate the medical miracles as well and allow the mysteries that surround them to disturb us less intensely. Thank you so much for listening. It's a miracle I can walk. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Mostofsky. Now, Professor Mostofsky will receive any questions for the next 15 minutes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. No, you can get away with it. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. That was something that we have to chew on for 100 years if we live that long, which would be a miracle, of course. One thing that struck me is that I think the emphasis is on timing. we say that Charles Chaplin became so popular because he had what every other artist had, but his speciality was this intangible thing called timing. He was there with the right product at the right time in the right place. And the shaman beating the drum and asking for the rain out of season. And if you stand there long enough, the rain will come down one day. So, as in the parting of the seas, it's the timing. So, as beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so is the timing of a miracle in the mind of the believer. If you stand there long enough, believing enough, you get a big crowd believing the same thing, then you'll make the miracle happen. Is this a wrong impression I have, or from your talk, or were you leading us in that direction?
It was not central to the message that I wanted to deliver. I go back to the elephant skin boy. That is an example. There are a number of very interesting things in hypnosis, similar, that did not require. It's not a case of timing. It was not a case. It was simply, in that particular case, it was accepting the suggestion that it's going to fall off, or the warts will fall off. There are similar demonstrations, and this is very increasingly more routine, at least in the United States and in England, of treating people with second-degree burns through hypnosis. If you can catch it within the first, if you can see the patient in the emergency ward within the first hour or two, you don't have to use any fancy theatrical stuff. There are transcripts that people have used, that how they train others how to use it in those conditions. And here's somebody who comes in with a second-degree burn. If it's a secondary facial burn, by the way, the immune system takes over and blows up the face. So you could be dark-skinned, white-skinned, heavy, thin, doesn't make any difference what. All faces look alike. And physicians can't even open the eyelids because of the inflammation somehow completely controls and takes over the effect of the burn. But if somebody does hypnosis with burn patients, they walk in, they say, "Hi, I am Dr. So-and-so," just right. You did the right. Do you know how to deal with burns? I said, "No, I just got burned. My acetylene torch, the tube came off and it just burned me." "Okay, fine, you did the right thing." So there's a whole sequence in which, not so much timing, but basically you convinced the patient that they did the right thing. Now, this was not true, by the way, for the elephant skin boy. But I just want to use the burn thing as another example where timing is not required. And you basically say that, okay, you're going to do fine. I want you to stay cool and connected. You'll see that you won't experience any pain. Right? I'm just telling you that. And if I can get you to accept that, patients walk out of the emergency ward, even though they have a prescription for narcotic or Demerol or something like this, they walk out without so much as taking an aspirin. And they don't go through the phase of the exploded, bloated face, or skin that takes several weeks to heal with infections and peeling back the old skin. And they heal within 36, 72 hours, and within a day they're going back to work. Not everything is timing. Not everything is timing. Well, you could say it is. Certainly it's timing in a sense that, well, no, only to the extent to which, unless I can start convincing you this within that first hour. So it's kind of almost the opposite of, if you wait long enough, the miracle will happen. If you wait long enough with this burn business, it ain't going to happen, right? So the miracle is that the timing is an initial one. I'm not going to disagree with what you said, and it's quite no, not because you're necessarily more right than I am, but it's quite consistent, it's quite certainly what I meant by providential timing. And somehow, since we don't really know Providence's timetable, we may have just waited long enough. Thank you.
There doesn't seem to be any more questions. It doesn't take a miracle for us to understand that Professor Mostofsky has given us a brilliant lecture tonight, for which we are very grateful. Definitely, he made it clear that miracles are not the result of the superstition of God toying with nature. I think it is more appropriate if we were to accept the Augustinian category that miracles are one aspect of creatio continua. Thank you very much, Professor Mostofsky. Thank you very much for being present.